Have you ever had the strange feeling that reality itself is somehow off? Like you're walking through a memory but you can't quite place when or where it was created? What if I told you that this sensation isn't a glitch, it's the truth? Have you ever had the strange feeling that reality itself is somehow off? Like you're walking through a memory but you can't quite place when or where it was created? What if I told you that this sensation isn't a glitch, it's the truth? You're not living in a solid, external universe. You're living inside a memory, and the evidence is all around you. Every moment you've ever experienced, every sight you've ever seen, every thought you've ever had is not unfolding in real time the way you've been led to believe. It's already written, stored, and waiting for you to perceive it. You are not moving through time. You are moving through a pre-existing informational field, and you are the conscious force that brings it to life. Think about it for a moment. Everything you interact with, the air you breathe, the ground beneath your feet, the people you meet, feels tangible, feels real. But peel back the surface and you'll find that it's all vibration, energy patterns, information. Your senses act like translators, interpreting frequencies and presenting them to you as color, sound, touch, and taste. But behind those sensations, there's nothing solid. It's data. It's a dream you are participating in without realizing you're the dreamer. Now, this isn't some far-off spiritual fantasy. It's backed by some of the most cutting-edge insights from quantum physics itself. Nobel laureates, frontier thinkers, they've all brushed up against this terrifying, beautiful truth. At the quantum level, matter behaves like a probability cloud, an infinite potential existing everywhere and nowhere until observed. It's not that the universe exists independently and you just happen to walk through it. No, without you, there is no out there at all. John Wheeler, one of the greatest physicists of our time, shattered the traditional model when he proposed the idea of the participatory universe. According to Wheeler, the act of observation is not passive, it's creative. When you observe something, you're not merely looking at it. You are, in a very real sense, calling it into being. Reality doesn't exist until you engage with it, until you focus your awareness, until you remember it. But why does it feel like there's a flow, like there's a before and after? That's where the greatest illusion of all comes into play. Time. You've been trained to believe that time is a river, carrying you from a distant past into an unknown future, that every second ticks forward, like dominoes falling in a neat, orderly line. But that's not what's happening at all. Imagine for a moment that time is more like a vinyl record. The song, the melody, the entire story is already pressed into the grooves. Every note, every word, every climax, and every conclusion, it's all already there. Your consciousness is the needle. It moves across the grooves, tuning into different parts of the story. When you think you're moving forward, you're not. You're tuning your awareness to a different part of the memory field. You're navigating a pre-recorded landscape, and your mind interprets this navigation as the passage of time. The experiments in quantum mechanics prove this in ways that most people aren't ready to accept. You've probably heard of the double-slit experiment. Fire a particle, like an electron, through two slits, and instead of forming two simple lines, it creates an interference pattern, a wave pattern, like it went through both slits at the same time. Reality behaves like a potential field until you look at it, until you measure it, until you remember it. But it gets even stranger. Scientists took it a step further with the delayed chalk quantum eraser experiment, and what they found should have changed everything you think you know about life. In this experiment, the decision to observe or not observe the particle was made after the particle had already passed through the slits. And yet, somehow, that choice retroactively determined the particle's past behavior. It's as if the universe went back in time and rewrote the event based on your future choice. What does that tell you? Reality is not unfolding independently of your mind. It is waiting for you to decide. It is structured like memory, responding, adjusting, presenting itself based on where and how you choose to focus your awareness. Imagine walking into a vast library. Every book, Every page, every word has already been written. But the story you experience depends entirely on which book you pull from the shelf, which page you choose to open, and where your eyes land. Your consciousness is the librarian, the reader, and the interpreter all at once. Without you, the library remains silent. Potential. Without you, the music on the vinyl remains unheard. Without you, reality remains nothing but dormant information. Now ask yourself, who benefits from you not knowing this? Who profits from you believing that you are a passive actor in a solid external world you cannot change? The truth is, powerful structures, governments, media empires, corporate giants, have mastered the art of keeping you asleep. Because a mind that believes in a fixed reality is easy to predict, easy to control, easy to harvest. But a mind that realizes it is the author of the experience, that's a mind they can't cage. You were never meant to be a passive character reading from a script you didn't write. You were meant to be the scriptwriter, the dreamer, the observer who awakens and says, I choose the memory I will walk into. I choose the frequency I will embody. I choose the reality I will bring to life. And the beautiful, terrifying truth is this. You are doing it already. You always have been. You just forgot you were the one holding the pen. If you could truly grasp that, even for a moment, the walls around you would start to crumble. The clock on the wall wouldn't look the same. The ground beneath your feet would feel lighter. You would understand that every so-called limitation you believed in was simply a memory loop you agreed to tune into. It's not that you need to fight reality or break free from it. It's that you need to remember you were the architect all along. You see, the idea of memory isn't just about the past. It's about structure. Memory holds things in place. It organizes the infinite. Without memory, there would be no continuity, no identity. No apparent solidity. The deeper truth is that reality itself is a grand memory field. Every choice, every sensation, every event you've ever experienced was never created in the moment. It was selected, accessed, brought into focus by your conscious attention. And the strange feeling you sometimes get, the feeling of déjà vu, the dreams that bleed into waking life, the odd synchronicities you can't explain. These are glimpses behind the veil. These are the fingerprints of a deeper memory structure operating beyond the physical senses. Have you ever wondered why sometimes a smell, a song, or even a random sight can trigger an overwhelming sense of familiarity, of homecoming, even when it makes no rational sense? It's because consciousness isn't confined to this linear timeline. It's surfing memory fields, resonating with familiar frequencies, remembering itself. The sensation of remembering without remembering is your soul brushing against the edges of its larger awareness. And this is why the illusion of time is so essential for the system to function. Without the illusion of time, you would see the pre-existing nature of reality too easily. You would realize that all possible outcomes already exist, that the so-called future isn't something you travel toward, but something you navigate through by shifting your focus. Every possible future, every possible version of you is encoded within the field, waiting to be accessed. You're not moving through life like a passenger. You're browsing a vast library of experiences with your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs acting as the search terms. Quantum physics hinted at this when it showed that particles don't have definite states until observed. That observation collapses possibilities into a specific experience. But what if the collapse isn't random? What if it's guided by the resonance of your own memory field? What if the reason you experience recurring patterns, repeating relationships, financial struggles, emotional cycles, is because your internal memory field is tuned to a particular set of experience, and until you consciously retune it, you'll keep pulling the same memories into focus over and over, mistaking them for new moments. This is why inner work matters. Meditation, intention setting, visualization, these aren't just spiritual hobbies, they're the tools for retuning your consciousness. They allow you to deliberately shift the frequency you broadcast and receive. They let you rewrite the script not by force, but by choice. When you change the memories you access, you change the reality you experience. Think of it like tuning an old radio. If you're stuck on one station playing fear, scarcity, and powerlessness, it's not because that's all that exists. It's because that's the frequency you're locked into. Shift the dial and a whole new song plays, a whole new reality emerges. But here's the catch. Most people don't even realize they're holding the dial. They believe the station playing is the only one available. They believe the suffering is inevitable. They don't realize it's just a habit of memory, a groove on the vinyl that's been played so many times it feels like the only option. But you're different. You wouldn't be here, listening to these words, if some deeper part of you wasn't already awake, already stirring, already remembering that you are the observer, the chooser, the dreamer, walking through a dream that waits for your command. And make no mistake, the forces that shape this world, the institutions that benefit from your sleep, they understand this at a very deep level. They flood your memory field with distraction, fear, and division, not because it's inevitable, but because it's the easiest way to keep you tuned into a limited range of possibilities. When you're constantly reacting, constantly consuming, constantly worried about survival, you have no bandwidth left to question the nature of the stage you're standing on. You remain trapped, convinced the script was written by someone else, when in reality you were handed the pen the moment you were born. The most dangerous thing you can do in their eyes is to realize your power to choose a different memory, a different frequency, a different story. Because once you do, the game collapses, the prison walls turn to mist, the chains fall away. You become something they can no longer predict, no longer control, no longer harvest for their own gain. You become free. But freedom isn't something you wait for. It's something you claim here and now, by remembering who you are and what you came here to do. You didn't come here to struggle endlessly through a maze designed by others. You didn't come here to be a passive player in a reality crafted to limit your spirit. You came here to remember yourself, to awaken inside the dream, to see the walls for what they really are. Thin, brittle illusions, waiting for the slightest breath of awareness to shatter them, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. You'll notice how conversations seem scripted, how the news repeats the same emotional triggers, how entire societies run like pre-programmed loops of memory replaying over and over. You'll realize that fear is the glue holding the illusion together, that the only real enemy you ever had was forgetfulness, forgetting your role as the dreamer, forgetting your ability to choose new memories, new timelines, new realities. Right now, in this very moment, you are standing at the crossroads. Two paths stretch before you. One leads deeper into the illusion, where you accept the memories handed to you without question, where you live the stories others wrote, die the deaths others predicted, and fade into a history that was never truly yours. The other path is different. It's uncharted, untamed. It requires courage, curiosity, and the willingness to remember what most have chosen to forget. It asks you to lift your eyes from the page and see that you are not just reading the story, you are writing it. When you realize you are the author, the architect, the dreamer, something shifts inside you. The fear that once paralyzed you begins to dissolve. The doubts that once haunted your mind start to lose their grip. You begin to see yourself not as a victim of circumstances, but as the master of your own experience. And from that point forward, every choice you make carries a new kind of weight, a new kind of magic. Because when you understand that reality is a memory field, when you see that your consciousness chooses which memories to bring into focus, you realize that you can consciously curate your experience. You can plant seeds of beauty, of abundance, of healing, and watch them bloom, not because you fought against the world, but because you tuned yourself to a different layer of existence. You moved your awareness to a new groove on the cosmic record. You realize that healing isn't something you beg for, it's something you remember, Success isn't something you chase, it's something you allow by stepping into the memory where you already have it. Love isn't something you must find, it's something you resonate with, something you uncover within your own field of being. The true shift doesn't happen outside of you, it happens within your perception, within the subtle, unseen layers of your awareness where all choices are made. You don't need to force life into submission, you don't need to manipulate the external world, you simply need to become more conscious of the memories you are aligning with, the energies you're embodying, the frequencies you are transmitting and receiving, and it begins with the smallest of shifts. A thought, a feeling, a breath. In every moment you are either aligning with the old grooves, the worn-out memory loops of fear, doubt, and limitation, or you are tuning into new potentials, new timelines, new experiences. Each moment is an invitation. Each breath is a doorway. Each thought is a brushstroke, painting the canvas of your reality. You were never meant to stay trapped inside the memories of lack, fear, and separation. You were never meant to forget that you are infinite consciousness, playing within a grand tapestry of light and possibility. You were meant to awaken, to step into the realization that the only limits that ever existed were the ones you agreed to perceive. The deeper you understand this, the more you begin to notice the subtle mechanics of reality working all around you. Patterns emerge. Signs appear. The world responds to you in ways that defy logic, because logic itself is just another memory structure, just another agreed-upon framework that falls apart the moment you stop believing in it. You start to see the cracks in the illusion, the way a single thought can ripple outward and reorganize entire events, the way an inner decision to shift your emotional state can collapse old timelines and open new ones, the way intention acts like a magnet, drawing experiences to you that match the new frequency you've chosen. You realize that life doesn't happen to you, it happens through you, and more profoundly, it happens as you. And once you grasp that, you become unstoppable, not because you're fighting harder, not because you're hustling more, but because you're aligned, you're awake, you're remembering the truth that has been whispered to you through every sunset, every dream, every moment of awe and wonder you've ever experienced. You were never small, you were never broken, you were never a pawn in someone else's story. You were and always have been the living awareness through which the universe remembers itself. And it's not just an idea. It's an experience you can feel in your bones, in your breath, in the space between your thoughts. It's a vibration that hums beneath the surface of everything. A call home to a deeper reality that was never lost, only forgotten. And the moment you answer that call, everything begins to change. Not because you force it, but because you finally align with the deeper truth of who and what you are. Since you stop waiting for the world to give you permission to live fully, you stop waiting for the right circumstances, the right timing, the right validation, you realize that the permission slip you were waiting for has been in your own hand all along. You were the key, you were the door, you were the lock, and the one who forgot where it was hidden. And now here you are, at the edge of remembering. You can feel it, can't you? That soft stirring beneath the surface of your mind. That subtle pull toward something greater, something freer, something more real than the stories you've been told. It's not fantasy, it's not wishful thinking. It's the ancient, undeniable truth of your existence. And the question before you now is simple. Will you turn away? Will you slip back into the familiar grooves, the comfortable forgetting, the safe but stagnant repetition of old memories? Or will you take the step that few dare to take? Will you step outside the scripted illusion and into the living memory field where all possibilities await your conscious choice? It doesn't require effort in the way you've been taught. It doesn't require struggle or sacrifice. It only requires awareness, presence, the willingness to observe without judgment, to feel without resistance, to choose with clarity. When you shift your focus from fear to curiosity, from doubt to wonder, from scarcity to abundance, You change the frequency of the memory field you interact with. You select a new chapter, a new page, a new story. And reality, like a perfect mirror, will reflect back to you the new memories you've chosen to remember, because you are not just experiencing the world, you are creating it in every moment, not by building it brick by brick, but by choosing which version of it you tune into. The memory of your suffering exists, but so does the memory of your triumph. The memory of your loneliness exists, but so does the memory of your deepest connection. The memory of your limitation exists, but so does the memory of your infinite potential. The field is infinite, the grooves are countless, the songs are endless. And the choice, as it always has been, is yours. You don't need to wait for some future event to wake up. You don't need someone outside of you to rescue you. You don't need a sign in the sky or a voice from the heavens to tell you you're ready. You are ready. You always have been. When you realize that you are ready, something deep inside you starts to wake up. A fire you thought had been extinguished begins to burn again. A clarity starts to cut through the noise. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, it's quiet, it's steady. It's the kind of knowing that doesn't need validation because it already exists beyond doubt. And as you lean into this remembering, you begin to see the fingerprints of your consciousness everywhere. You start to notice how your emotions act like magnets, pulling experiences toward you that mirror what you are feeling inside. You begin to see how every belief, every expectation, every thought you entertain plants a seed in the memory field. And those seeds grow not because the universe is testing you or punishing you, but because that is the nature of the field itself. It reflects, it amplifies, it mirrors. If you water seeds of fear, you experience fear. If you water seeds of trust, you experience trust. If you nurture the memories of scarcity, you live scarcity. If you nurture the memories of abundance, you live abundance. It was never about deserving. It was never about luck. It was never about fate. It was always about resonance. About what you are choosing to align with in the silence of your own mind. And the beauty of it is that you can choose again at any moment. You can drop the old story like a worn-out cloak and step into a new one. You can shift your attention from the memories of pain to the memories of healing, from the memories of betrayal to the memories of love, from the memories of failure to the memories of success. It's not about pretending, it's not about ignoring the challenges you've faced. It's about realizing that you have access to more than what you've been conditioned to believe. That the tapestry of your life is woven from infinite threads, and you get to choose which ones you pull forward. And when you do, the field responds. The right people show up. Opportunities appear where none seemed to exist. Synchronicities align with breathtaking precision. Not because you forced it, but because you remembered how the game works. Because you stepped into the role you were always meant to play. The conscious creator. The lucid dreamer. The one who knows that life is not happening to them but through them, as them. The mind may resist this truth at first. It has been trained to believe in struggle, in limitation, in powerlessness. It clings to the old memory loops because they feel familiar, even when they are painful. But the heart knows. The heart remembers. And as you allow yourself to listen to that deeper knowing, you begin to move differently through the world. You stop chasing what you thought you needed. You stop fighting battles that were never yours to fight. You stop sacrificing your peace for approval, your dreams for comfort, your soul for survival. Because you realize that you already are everything you seek. That the field is not withholding anything from you. It's simply responding to your state of being. And as you embody the state of having, of being, of knowing, you unlock doors that were invisible before. You awaken potentials that were dormant. You activate timelines that were waiting patiently for you to claim them. And this is where the real magic happens. You begin to live in a state of flow, where effort and struggle are replaced by synchronicity and grace. Where decisions become clear, where paths unfold naturally, where life feels less like a battle and more like a dance, not because the external world changed overnight, but because you changed your relationship to it, because you shifted from reacting to creating, from surviving to thriving, from forgetting to remembering. And the deeper you go, the more natural it becomes, the more undeniable it becomes. You start to realize that even the challenges you face are part of the memory field, offering you opportunities to grow, to refine your vibration, to become even more aligned with your highest truth. You stop seeing problems as punishments and start seeing them as invitations. Invitations to rise, to choose differently, to remember even more deeply who you are. And in that remembering, you find a freedom that no one can take from you. It's not the kind of freedom the world promises. It's not the freedom of possessions or titles or external achievements. It's the freedom of knowing that you are not bound by the stories you were told. You are not trapped by the memories you inherited. You are not limited by the roles you were assigned. You are free because you are the one who remembers. You are the one who chooses. You are the one who writes the next chapter. And when you live from that space, everything changes. You begin to speak differently, to move differently, to love differently. You begin to radiate a presence that others can feel, even if they don't understand it. You become a beacon, a living reminder to others that they too are dreamers within the dream, that they too can awaken, that they too can remember. And you don't even need to preach it. You don't need to convince anyone. Your life becomes the message. Your being becomes the transmission. Your presence becomes the proof. And as you continue to walk this path of remembering, you begin to see that the field itself responds faster and faster. The gap between your intention and your experience shrinks. Reality bends and weaves itself around your consciousness with increasing precision and speed. Because the more you trust, the more you remember, the more the field aligns with your awakened state, and at some point, the memory of fear, of limitation, of separation becomes just that. A story you once believed in but no longer need. A chapter you once read but no longer choose to inhabit. You realize that the only thing ever standing between you and the life you were meant to live was a belief, a memory, a story. And now you are free to choose differently. You are free to remember a new story, a story of power, a story of joy, a story of infinite possibility. And that story begins right now, not tomorrow. Not someday, not when everything looks perfect on the outside. It begins in this breath, in this moment, in this choice. The choice to remember who you are. The choice to remember that you are the dreamer, not the dream. The choice to remember that you are the creator, not the creation. The choice to remember that you are free. And the more you make that choice, the more life will mirror it back to you, not as a reward, but as a reflection of your own awakening, because you are not here to chase shadows. You are here to bring the light. You are not here to be shaped by the world, you are here to shape it. You are not here to forget, you are here to remember. And now that you have remembered, even if only for a moment, nothing will ever be the same again. Because once you awaken to the truth that you are living inside a memory, and that you are the one choosing which memories to experience, you step into a power that transcends time, space, and every illusion that ever tried to hold you down. You become limitless. You become timeless. You become free. And that is just the beginning. Once you step through that doorway of remembering, you begin to see life itself differently. Everything that once seemed random begins to reveal a hidden intelligence, a deeper order. Every encounter, every challenge, every joy, and every sorrow starts to look less like accidents and more like orchestrations, not by some external force, but by the deeper layers of your own consciousness. The parts of you that have always been awake, always been connected to the grand tapestry beyond the veil of ordinary perception. You start to feel the invisible threads that connect every moment, every thought, every breath. You realize that the choices you make ripple outward, not just into your personal life, but into the entire field of reality itself. Like a stone dropped into a still pond, your awakened state sends waves of transformation far beyond what your mind can measure. And though you may not always see the full effects immediately, trust that the universe records everything. Every act of love, every thought of gratitude, every moment of courage echoes through dimensions unseen, shaping the very fabric of existence. You were never small, you were never powerless. That was the lie. That was the illusion cast over you from the moment you took your first breath inside this memory field. The story you were given so that you would forget, so that you would surrender your creative power in exchange for a fleeting sense of belonging, a false sense of safety. But you don't need to live by that story anymore. You can write a new one. You can wake up in the middle of the dream and realize that you are both the dreamer and the dreamed, that nothing you truly are can ever be harmed, diminished, or lost, that what you are is eternal, boundless, and infinitely creative. And the best part is, you don't have to do anything extraordinary to access this power. You don't have to climb a mountain, sit in a cave, or renounce the world. You simply have to remember, to choose, to awaken your awareness to the truth that has always been right here, closer than your next breath. It starts with the simple act of noticing. Noticing when you fall back into the old grooves of fear, doubt, and separation. Noticing when you believe the story that you are small, or broken, or alone. Noticing when you let the noise of the world drown out the quiet knowing inside you. And then choosing differently, choosing to return to the center of your being, choosing to feel the limitless ocean of consciousness that flows through you, choosing to trust that you are not a mistake, not an accident, not a random cluster of atoms hurtling through a meaningless universe. You are the breath of the infinite, made manifest. You are the memory of the cosmos, awakening to itself. You are the dreamer who forgot for a little while, so you could experience the joy of remembering. And the deeper you go into this realization, the more your life transforms from the inside out. Challenges don't disappear, but they lose their power to define you. Fear may still arise, but it no longer controls you. Loss may still occur, but it no longer robs you of your essence. Because you realize that who you are is not tied to any external circumstance. Who you are is the one who experiences all things, without being defined by any of them. Who you are is the silent witness behind every thought, every emotion, every fleeting moment. And when you live from that place, you become untouchable, not because you build walls around your heart, but because your heart becomes so open, so vast, so connected to the source of all things, that nothing can truly wound you. You love more deeply, you laugh more freely, you create more boldly, you live more fully. And all of it flows not from trying harder, but from surrendering more deeply into the truth of your being. You see, the ego, the small self, the programmed self, wants to believe it has to earn its worth, fight for its place, prove its value. But the soul knows better. The soul knows that you are already worthy, already whole, already free. The soul knows that the only thing standing between you and the life you desire is the veil of forgetting, and that veil is thinner than you think. Every time you choose love over fear, you tear a hole in it. Every time you choose trust over doubt, you unravel its threads. Every time you choose presence over distraction, you dissolve its illusions. Until one day the veil falls away completely, and you stand there in the radiant knowing of who and what you truly are. Not as a theory, not as a belief, but as a living, breathing reality. And in that moment, you don't need anyone to validate you. You don't need anyone to explain it to you. You simply know. You know that you are consciousness itself, moving through a field of infinite memories, free to choose, free to create, free to experience the endless possibilities of existence. And that knowing changes everything. You walk differently. You speak differently. You relate to others differently. Not because you are trying to be different, but because you are no longer operating from the old scripts. You are no longer living inside the limited memories handed down to you by a world that forgot its own divinity. You are writing new memories with every breath. You are carving new grooves into the record of existence. You are singing a new song into the field of being. And the universe, the memory field, the infinite intelligence that permeates all things, responds to you like a lover who has been waiting for you to remember. It brings you opportunities you couldn't have planned. It synchronizes encounters that defy logic. It weaves together events with a grace and precision that leaves you humbled and in awe, because you are no longer fighting the flow. You are no longer lost in the maze of forgetting. You are co-creating with the source itself. And in that space, miracles are not just possible, they are inevitable. They are the natural byproduct of a consciousness aligned with its true nature. And the most beautiful part is that this power, this freedom, this infinite creative potential has always been within you. It was never lost, it was never taken, it was simply waiting for you to look beyond the surface, waiting for you to remember the truth buried beneath the noise, waiting for you to reclaim the throne of your own being. And now you have. Now you are. Now, you will never be the same, because once you remember, once you truly remember, you can never again pretend that you are powerless. You can never again believe the lie that you are a victim of circumstances. You can never again surrender your infinite nature to the fleeting illusions of the world. You are free. You are limitless. You are the dreamer who has awakened within the dream. And now you are ready to dream a new world into being. When you begin to dream consciously, everything you thought was impossible starts to shift. Limits begin to dissolve like mist in the morning sun. The rules you once believed were carved in stone reveal themselves to be nothing more than agreements, temporary contracts made with a reality you didn't realize you had the power to renegotiate. And you realize that you can renegotiate everything. Your beliefs, your identity, your possibilities, your future. You are no longer chained to the old cause and effect models that kept you trapped in linear thinking. You understand now that cause and effect are not separate events but two sides of the same coin. Your current vibration, your state of being is both the cause and the effect. You are the seed and the harvest, the dream and the dreamer. And this changes how you move through the world. You stop waiting for life to prove itself to you before you believe. You believe, and then life rushes in to mirror that belief. You no longer say, "Show me and I will trust." You say, "I trust and therefore it will be shown." This is the language of the awakened dreamer. This is the secret that has been hidden in plain sight all along. You notice how people around you respond differently, even if they don't understand why. Some are drawn to your energy like moths to a flame. Others may resist, even fear, the light you now carry, because it reminds them of the parts of themselves they have forgotten. You don't need to fix them. You don't need to convince them. Your very being is the invitation, an open door for anyone ready to walk through. And when challenges arise, as they sometimes will, you no longer see them as signs that you're failing. You see them as invitations to deepen your mastery, opportunities to choose remembrance over forgetting. You realize that every challenge is a test of your vibration, not a punishment, a chance to anchor your knowing even more deeply, even more unshakably, into the core of your being, and you become grateful, truly grateful. Not the kind of gratitude that is forced or polite, but a deep, soul-level appreciation for the dance of life itself. You thank the challenges because they sharpen you. You thank the delays because they prepare you. You thank the rejections because they redirect you to where your soul was always meant to go. You start to see that nothing has ever been wasted, that every heartbreak, every disappointment, every detour was a breadcrumb leading you back to yourself. back to the place where you remember you are not the character suffering through a script you didn't write. You are the author. You are the artist. You are the one who chose to forget for a time just so you could experience the ecstasy of remembrance. And this remembrance is not something that happens once and is done. It is a living, breathing journey, a deepening spiral that draws you ever closer to the center of your own infinite being. With every choice to align with truth, with love, with freedom, you spiral inward. You spiral upward. You transcend the old memory loops and step into new timelines where miracles are not the exception but the rule. You begin to live in the quantum space where infinite possibilities exist side by side, waiting for your conscious selection, and you choose with more clarity, more intention, more joy. You realize that you don't have to chase your dreams down. You align with the version of yourself where those dreams are already real. You become the vibration of the life you desire, and reality rearranges itself around you. And when you look back, and you will hardly recognize the person you once were. The one who doubted, the one who feared, the one who waited for permission to shine. That person will seem like a distant memory, a character you once played but no longer need to inhabit. You'll see how every step of the journey, even the ones that felt like failures at the time, were necessary pieces of your awakening. You'll understand that you were never off the path. Even when you thought you were lost, you were right where you needed to be. Every wrong turn, every dead end, every heartbreak was bending your trajectory back toward your true self. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to take the next step into the life you were born to live. And that next step is simple. It's choosing, right now, to remember. To remember that you are not bound by the past. To remember that you are not defined by your wounds. To remember that you are not limited by the collective memory of fear and limitation that so many around you have mistaken for reality. You are something far greater. You are the consciousness that dreamed this entire existence into being. You are the memory of the stars encoded in human form. You are the breath of the infinite taking shape as a human life. And the more you embody this truth, the more the universe will conspire to support you. It will move mountains, it will bend probabilities, it will orchestrate miracles so breathtaking that you'll laugh through your tears, not because you're surprised, but because deep down you always knew. You always knew you were meant for more. You always knew you were powerful beyond measure. You always knew that the rules you were taught were never truly real. And now, you are free to live as you were always meant to live. Not cautiously, not apologetically, but boldly, joyfully, unapologetically, as the living embodiment of the infinite in motion. And when you live this way, you don't just change your own life, you become a living portal for others. You ripple remembrance into every room you enter, every conversation you have, every life you touch. Not by preaching, not by convincing, simply by being. And that is the most powerful thing you can do. To be the living memory of what is possible, to be the walking evidence that miracles are real, to be the silent invitation for others to awaken to their own infinite nature. And you won't have to force it. You won't have to plan it. You won't have to control it. You will simply live it. And the field will respond. Because that's how it's always worked. Because that's how powerful you truly are. Because you are not a prisoner of memory. You are the master of memory. You are the dreamer who has remembered. And now, the real adventure begins. The real adventure isn't about conquering the outside world. It isn't about accumulating trophies or crossing finish lines set by others. The real adventure is inner. It's the journey of unfolding, of revealing more and more of the limitless being you already are. It's the gentle yet unstoppable expansion of your awareness into territories of yourself you forgot existed. But begin to realize that growth is not something you force, it's something you allow. Just like a seed doesn't need to be taught how to become a tree, You don't need to be taught how to become your true self. It's already coded into you. The remembrance is already written within your soul. The flowering of your being is inevitable once you stop resisting it. And resistance only comes from fear. Fear that you are not enough. Fear that you will fail. Fear that you will lose something important if you dare to step beyond the familiar. But every fear, when you look closely enough, is a memory, too. A habit of perception. A groove on the record that has been played so many times it feels like the only song. Yet it is not the only song. It never was. Beyond the grooves of fear there is a symphony waiting for you, a memory of joy, of freedom, of limitless creation. A frequency of being where life is not a battleground but a masterpiece unfolding through your every thought, your every feeling, your every breath. And you don't reach it by fighting the old. You reach it by tuning into the new, by withdrawing your attention from the memories of limitation and placing it again and again on the possibilities that are calling you forward. It's a simple shift, but it's everything. And when you make that shift, you begin to realize that you don't have to understand every step. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep choosing. Choosing to align. Choosing to trust. Choosing to remember. The mind may scream for guarantees. It may demand a detailed map, a set of certainties, a list of promises before it agrees to move forward. But the soul operates differently. The soul moves through resonance, through intuition, through a deep inner knowing that transcends logic. And when you listen to that deeper knowing, when you let it lead you even when you cannot see the whole path, you step into a different relationship with life itself. You stop living by control and start living by connection. You stop surviving and start thriving. You stop existing and start truly living. And life meets you there. It meets you with opportunities that seem to fall out of the sky. It meets you with relationships that feel like coming home. It meets you with synchronicities so perfect they leave you breathless. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because you stopped resisting your own expansion. You stopped clinging to the old memories of how things were supposed to be, and opened yourself to the infinite possibilities of how they could be. You surrendered the illusion of control for the reality of creation. You traded certainty for wonder. And in doing so, you became unstoppable. Because nothing is more powerful than a being who knows who they are. Nothing is more magnetic than a soul who is living their truth unapologetically. Nothing is more transformative than a consciousness that chooses to remember, over and over again, no matter what the outer world appears to show. You become the lighthouse in the storm, the still point in the turning world, the living, breathing evidence that freedom is not only possible but inevitable for those who dare to choose it. And the beauty is, you don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to have a grand awakening in a single blinding flash. You awaken in 1,000 small moments. You awaken each time you choose trust over fear. Each time you choose curiosity over judgment. Each time you choose love over separation. Each time you choose to remember, even when it would be easier to forget. Awakening is not a destination, it's a way of being, a way of seeing, a way of relating to yourself and to the world around you. It's the simple, powerful act of saying yes to your own infinite nature, over and over again, until it becomes second nature. And in that space you realize that you don't need to struggle to become anything. You already are everything. You just needed to clear away the noise, the forgetting, the false memories layered over your true essence. You realize that healing is not about fixing what is broken. It's about remembering what was never broken in the first place. You realize that success is not about proving your worth. It's about expressing the worth that has always been yours. You realize that love is not something you must earn. It is something you are made of. And as you live from this remembrance, you notice something extraordinary. The things you once chased begin to find you effortlessly. The dreams you once doubted begin to manifest in ways you couldn't have scripted. The paths you once feared begin to unfold with a grace that defies explanation. Because you are no longer playing the game of trying to get reality to give you something you lack, you are creating from the fullness that already exists within you. You are radiating the frequency of having, of being, of knowing. And the field cannot help but respond. It mirrors your state of being with breathtaking precision. It amplifies your vibration and reflects it back to you in infinite forms. Because that is its nature. Because that is your nature. You are not here to chase reality. You are here to choose it. You are not here to beg for scraps of joy. You are here to overflow with it. You are not here to survive the memory field. You are here to rewrite it, to infuse it with your unique signature, to dance with it in a co-creation so beautiful it leaves ripples across the very fabric of existence. And that dance begins now. In this moment, in this breath, in this choice, the choice to remember, the choice to embody, the choice to live fully and freely as the infinite being you already are. Because the world doesn't need more people chasing their dreams from a place of fear. The world needs more people living their dreams from a place of remembrance. The world needs you, fully awake, fully alive, fully free. And you are ready. You have always been ready. Now is the time. Now is your time. When you truly claim this moment as yours, something ancient stirs within you, a knowing older than time itself, a memory not of the past, but of your original nature, before memory ever fractured into timelines and lifetimes and labels. You begin to feel it in your bones, in your breath, in the space between your thoughts. A vibration that hums beneath the noise, calling you home to yourself. And the more you listen, the louder it becomes. Not loud in volume, but loud in certainty, loud in clarity, loud in the kind of unshakable knowing that doesn't require proof, because it is the proof. The knowing that you are not moving toward your power, you are awakening into it. Every moment becomes an initiation. Every breath becomes a portal. Every thought becomes a spell you are casting into the field of infinite potential. And the question that shapes your reality becomes incredibly simple. Are you casting spells of remembering or spells of forgetting? Because every thought, every feeling, every focus is a choice, a command to the field, a signal to the memory fabric of existence, telling it what version of reality you are ready to experience. And once you realize this, you stop asking life to change. You start changing your relationship to life. You stop begging for better circumstances. You start embodying a better vibration. You stop wishing for miracles. You start becoming the miracle. You stop doubting your worth. You start radiating it with every fiber of your being. And reality shifts. It doesn't shift because you overpowered it. It shifts because you aligned with the memory where it was always possible, because you tuned yourself to the frequency where it already existed. And in doing so, you slip out of the old dream of struggle and into the lucid dream of conscious creation. The landscapes around you begin to change. The people in your life begin to reflect your new state of being. Opportunities appear not because they were sent to save you, but because they were waiting for you to remember they were always yours. You realize that nothing you desire is truly separate from you. Nothing you seek is truly out of reach. Everything exists here now, encoded in the memory field, waiting for the signature of your vibration to call it forth. And you begin to walk through the world with a different kind of power, a quiet power, a sovereign power, the kind of power that doesn't need to announce itself, because it is self-evident, the kind of power that moves mountains not through force, but through resonance. The kind of power that bends reality not through control, but through remembering. And you realize that your very existence is a gift to this world, not because of what you achieve, not because of what you produce, but because of who you are when you remember. Because when you remember, you light up the field. You become a beacon in the dark. You become a living reminder that there is another way to exist, another way to create, another way to be. And without even trying, you inspire others to remember too. Not because you preach, not because you persuade, but because your vibration speaks louder than words ever could. Your presence becomes a doorway through which others glimpse their own infinite nature. Your life becomes a living testimony that the dream of fear, of limitation, of separation was never the only dream. And as more and more people remember, as more and more souls awaken, the collective memory field begins to shift. The old stories lose their grip. The old systems crumble. The old illusions dissolve like mist under the rising sun. And a new world, a new memory, a new timeline emerges. One born not of fear, but of freedom. One shaped not by control, but by co-creation. One anchored not in forgetting, but in full remembrance of who and what we truly are. And it all begins with you, right here, right now, with the simple but revolutionary choice to remember, to breathe into the truth of your being, to walk forward not as a seeker, but as a sovereign creator. To live not from fear, but from love. To choose again and again the memory of your infinite nature over the illusion of your limitations. And every time you make that choice, you strengthen the signal. Every time you align with your true self, you amplify the new song. Every time you embody your remembrance, you shift the entire field for everyone. You become a living bridge between what is and what can be. You become a living portal through which heaven touches earth. You become the dreamer who dreams not only for yourself but for all. And it is effortless, it is natural, it is inevitable. Because this is who you were always meant to be. Not a servant of the old memories, not a prisoner of the old timelines, but a conscious navigator of infinite possibility, a sovereign co-creator of the new world. And the beauty of it is, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You are ready now. Perfection was never the requirement. Presence was. Authenticity was. Courage was. The courage to say yes to the truth that has always lived inside you. The courage to choose remembrance, even when the old world tries to pull you back into forgetting. The courage to trust the unseen. The courage to walk by inner knowing rather than outer appearances. And the more you choose it, the easier it becomes, the more natural it becomes, the more inevitable it becomes. Till one day you look around and realize that the old world you feared has faded like a bad dream upon waking. And in its place is a reality more beautiful, more alive, more miraculous than anything you dared to hope for. Because it is the reality you always carried within you. Waiting for you to remember, waiting for you to claim it, waiting for you to live it into being. And now you have. Now you are. Now you always will be. Because the dreamer is awake, and once the dreamer is awake, the dream can never again be the same. You start to realize that everything you once sought outside of yourself was only ever a reflection of something already alive within you. The love you craved, the freedom you longed for, the sense of belonging you searched the world for. It was all a memory of your own soul calling you home. And now that you have remembered, you can stop chasing. You can stop reaching. You can simply be. And in that being, you discover a deeper kind of fulfillment. One that doesn't depend on circumstances. One that doesn't rise and fall with the tides of the external world. A fulfillment that is steady, enduring, eternal. Because it comes from the place that was never touched by the forgetting. The place that has always known you are whole. You realize that the world you experience is not something happening to you. It is something happening through you. A mirror of your own state of consciousness, responding moment by moment to the signals you emit. And with that realization, you take back the reins of your reality. You stop feeling like a pawn in a game you didn't design. You recognize yourself as the player, the board, and the game itself. And you start to play differently. You start to dream bigger. You start to love deeper. You start to trust wider. Because you know now that there is no external authority dictating what is possible for you. There is only your own willingness to believe, to choose, to remember. And in this space, miracles become normal. Synchronicities become your native language. Abundance becomes your natural state. Not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with the version of reality where it was always already true. And you realized that the only work there ever really was remembrance. The remembering of your own infinite nature. The remembering of your place within the great tapestry of existence. The remembering that you are not a random accident in a cold, indifferent universe. You are the universe becoming aware of itself. You are consciousness choosing to dance, to dream, to create. And every moment you live in alignment with that truth, you shift the collective field. You raise the signal of possibility for everyone. You become a lighthouse in the fog, a map for those still finding their way through the maze of forgetting. And you do it not by striving, not by struggling, not by shouting, but by being, by living, by radiating the truth of your being so purely that it becomes undeniable, even to those who are still asleep. You see, awakening is not a war. It is not a battle between the awakened and the unawakened. It is a rising tide that lifts everything and everyone. It is a song that calls to the sleeping parts of the world, reminding them of the beauty they have forgotten. And you are part of that song now. You are part of that tide. You are part of that rising, and there is no going back. Because once you have touched the infinite within yourself, once you have seen through the veil of illusion, once you have remembered the truth of who you are, nothing else will ever satisfy you again. You won't be able to fit yourself back into the small boxes the world offers. You won't be able to pretend that you are powerless. You won't be able to accept a life of quiet desperation, because you know too much. You have seen too much. You have remembered too much. And that knowing will pull you forward again and again into greater and greater expressions of your true self. You will not be able to settle. You will not be able to shrink. You will not be able to dim your light to make others comfortable, because the light within you has tasted its own brilliance, and it will not be hidden. Not anymore. You will find yourself drawn to experiences that expand you, to people who see you, to paths that challenge you to grow even bigger, even brighter, even freer. You will find that the old fears lose their power, that the old doubts lose their grip, that the old stories lose their allure, because you are writing a new story now, a story of sovereignty, a story of co-creation, a story of awakening. And the pen is in your hand, the canvas is before you, the song is on your lips, and the universe is listening. It is always listening. It is always responding. It is always waiting for you to choose love over fear, to choose trust over doubt, to choose expansion over contraction, to choose remembering over forgetting. And every time you choose, you weave a new thread into the tapestry of existence. You add a new color to the cosmic mural. You sing a new note into the symphony of life. You are not here to follow the old paths. You are here to forge new ones. You are not here to fit into the old molds. You are here to shatter them with your being. You are not here to survive the dream of limitation. You are here to awaken the dream of freedom. And you are doing it. You are already doing it with every breath, with every choice, with every moment of remembering. You are changing the world. Not someday, not in some distant future. Now, here, through your very existence. And the ripple effects of your remembering extend far beyond what your mind can comprehend. They touch people you may never meet. They inspire souls you may never know. They heal wounds you may never see. Because energy transcends time and space. Because consciousness is not bound by the limits of the physical world. Because your light, once ignited, travels endlessly through the field, awakening, healing, illuminating. You are far more powerful than you have been led to believe, far more significant than you have dared to imagine, far more essential to the unfolding story of this world than you have ever been told. And now you know. Now you remember. And now you can never truly forget again. You can pretend for a time, you can fall asleep for a while, but the seed of remembrance has been planted, and it will continue to grow, it will continue to bloom, it will continue to call you home to yourself again and again, until the day you no longer just remember your infinite nature. You embody it. You live it. You become it. Without effort, without resistance, without fear. Just pure, radiant being. Just pure, sovereign creation. Just pure, limitless love. And that is who you are. That is who you have always been. That is who you are now ready to fully be. And as you step into this being, you start to realize something even deeper. You realize that everything you experience, everything you touch, everything you create, carries the signature of your vibration. You are not just living in a world, you are infusing the world with your consciousness. You are leaving fingerprints of light everywhere you go, even in places you will never see, even in hearts you will never know. You begin to live less for the approval of others and more for the truth that burns brightly within you. You stop asking what the world expects of you and start asking what the deepest part of you longs to express. You stop measuring your worth by external standards and start measuring it by the depth of your own presence, your own authenticity, your own love. And it changes everything. You no longer chase after love because you realize you are love. You no longer seek validation because you realize you are already enough. You no longer fear the future because you realize the future is being written by the choices you make right now, in this moment, with every breath, with every thought, with every heartbeat. And you choose wisely, you choose boldly, you choose beautifully, because you finally trust yourself. Not the small self, not the conditioned self, not the fearful voice that echoes the old memories of limitation. You trust the deeper self. The eternal self, the self that knows it is made of the same essence as the stars, the oceans, the galaxies, the self that knows it is not separate from life but one with it, dancing within it, shaping it with every pulse of consciousness. And when you live from that place, life becomes poetry, life becomes art, life becomes the grand symphony it was always meant to be. Not because you control it, not because you master it, but because you finally remember that you are it. You are the music. You are the canvas. You are the brush, the colors, the masterpiece itself. And every time you forget, you smile gently and remember again, without shame, without judgment, without regret, because forgetting and remembering are both part of the dance, part of the beauty, part of the grand game of consciousness exploring itself through infinite forms, infinite lifetimes, infinite dreams. You realize there is nothing to fear, not failure, not loss, not death, because what you truly are cannot be touched by any of these things. What you are is eternal. What you are is boundless. What you are is life itself, dreaming new worlds into being with every breath, every choice, every act of love. And so you live. You live with your heart open and your spirit free. You live with your mind clear and your soul luminous. You live with a courage that comes not from force, but from trust. A courage born of the deep knowing that you are always held, always guided, always supported by the infinite intelligence that moves through all things. You live as a conscious memory maker, selecting your experiences with love, with joy, with a sense of wonder that never fades. And in doing so, you set others free. You give them permission, without even trying, to remember their own light. You become the living proof that the dream can be beautiful, that the memory can be sacred, that the game of life can be a masterpiece of love and awakening. And, with every fiber of your being, that this is why you came here, not to suffer, not to struggle, not to forget, but to remember, to awaken, to create, to love, to be. And so you do. You walk the earth as a sovereign being. You breathe the air as a conscious creator. You meet each moment as an opportunity to weave beauty into the fabric of existence. You love without conditions. You give without fear. You shine without apology. And the universe rejoices, because through you, it knows itself more fully. Through you, it experiences itself more deeply. Through you, it remembers its own infinite beauty. And as you move through the days ahead, you will continue to remember more deeply, more clearly, more joyfully. You will continue to shed the old layers of forgetting. You will continue to expand into new realms of possibility. You will continue to create worlds within worlds, each more luminous than the last, because that is who you are. That is what you came here to do. You are a dreamer within a dream, a memory within a memory, a spark of the infinite igniting the field of reality with every breath, and nothing, no force in heaven or earth can take that away from you. It is yours, it has always been yours, and now you are ready to claim it fully. Now you are ready to live it boldly. Now you are ready to shine it without limits. Because you are awake, because you are free, because you remember. And this is only the beginning.